It's time for the One Bar and Lupaga Show, bringing you anything and everything Minnesota Vikings.
Welcome to professional football.
All right, before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the video, like the video. We're going to be coming at you all weekend. Anything and everything Vikings draft. We're going to be breaking down every single damn pick, so be sure to subscribe. All right, welcome to the One Bar and Lupagus Show. I am One Bar with Lupagus, and the Minnesota Vikings officially have two brand new Minnesota Vikings. Lupagus, right now, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good overall. I am because at pick 22, we landed Justin Jefferson, a guy who I kind of just assumed wasn't going to be there anymore for the Vikings. I thought for sure the Eagles would have snapped him up. Instead, they went for the undersized and slow Jalen Reagor.
That's not nice.
Making Jefferson our pick. You got to love what this guy did last year. He had like 17 touchdowns, damn near 100 receptions or over. Just this guy is going to be a demon working on the slot for us. I can see him having a huge role as a rookie. The Vikings didn't have to take a receiver there, but he was definitely the best player available. And to me, they made the right choice. You stick true to your board. This was not a forced pick like when the Vikings traded Randy Moss and took Troy Williamson. To me, that was a major force. This was truly the best player on the board, and it was a pick they had to make, and it was a hell of a value.
Yeah, you said it best. I mean, the fact that he was on the board made this I would say probably a pretty damn easy pick for the Vikings. It wasn't a stretch. He really, like you said, he shouldn't have been on the board probably. I don't think anyone really anticipated him being there. Justin Jefferson, when you read about him, the best way to sum him up is he is a quarterback's best friend. He's going to make plays. He has good hands. He has good speed. When you look, he was Joe Burrow's. He was his man. And the thing with Jefferson was people would say, well, he plays in the slot. That's where Thielen plays. And you know what? Either of those two guys can bump outside. They're going to play them at either position. So Justin Jefferson, even as a rookie wide receiver, which is tough, he's going to come in and he is going to put a big old dent in this offense.
Yeah, I think he'll actually will be pretty productive for a rookie wide receiver, which is always hit and miss. To me, he could be arguably one of the most productive rookies on offense this year. You think of the role he could have, like you said, in the slot or outside, depending on the situation. They could flip those guys around. I think Tajay Sharp will probably be strictly on the outside. BC Johnson will get some work wherever. All of a sudden, a major weakness for the Vikings becomes a pretty good strength right now with these four. You gotta like that receiving core all of a sudden.
Yeah, you got Thielen, you got Jefferson, you got Sharp, you got BC Johnson, you got a couple of stragglers behind that. Jefferson, man, I'm very excited about him. But what I love about him is he was a two-star recruit coming out of high school. He had to work his way up there. He is hungry. He wants to get better. That's all he's done is gotten better. And I think his potential has not even been reached. I think he's got a pretty high ceiling when you look at some of these other receivers. When they were on the board at 22, I guess I was thinking it could be pretty much Jefferson, any of the cornerbacks, and even guys like Josh Jones. So very excited about Justin Jefferson. He was my man.
He was your man. He was my man earlier, and I just kind of assumed it wasn't going to happen. And then with Denzel Mims, I kind of went on to him, but he's still on the board. So, who knows? It's crazy. But
yeah,
let's talk about the second pick. The Vikings traded down from 25 all the way down to 31 and took cornerback Jeff Gladney, who is one of your boys. So I'll let you go ahead and talk about him first.
Jeff Gladney, future Minnesota Viking Hall of Famer. No, the reason I like Jeff Gladney is he has started from day one at TCU. I've said it over and over. I think just his experience, his swagger, he's ready to come in. He's not going to be scared off by getting a starting job. He's not going to be intimidated. He's good against the run. He's good against the pass. He's tough. He can lay a hit. He's feisty. He goes after the ball, which is something we need. I think he comes in with Mike Hughes, Holton Hill. I don't think there's an issue there with him fighting for a starting spot. The fact that we have probably two guys that are at least going to push for a starting spot with Jefferson and Gladney, I couldn't think of a better case scenario. And the fact we traded back and got another early 4th round pick.
Well, I love the fact we traded back and got an extra pick. What worries me about this and why I'm not super excited is now you have your 2 starting corners, likely for the Vikings, are both 5'10". That's a huge mismatch. You go up against any receivers, 6'2", 6'3". Those are average sized NFL receivers. That's a huge advantage. You throw a jump ball. No matter how good Gladney is or Mike Hughes is, you just simply can't match the physicality, the size of someone like that. To me, that's a major concern. I do love the way Gladney plays. He's aggressive. He's exciting. He does have great ball skills. He'll go up and swat a pass away. But if you're matched up man to man on somebody who's got 4 inches on you, there's no technique, nothing can make up for that. And that to me is a major concern. That's why I was not very excited about this pick. I would have gone with the Christian Fulton or just gone with a different position like a safety and taken Antoine Winfield Jr., Minnesota royalty.
Minnesota royalty, indeed. And you know what? He's still on the board. Who knows? Who knows what can happen? Maybe we still get him. I think we're still going to get a cornerback in possibly round 2 or round 3. We're going to double dip. But when you look at strictly value, Gladney, Gladney, Fulton, Jalen Johnson, they had to have all been in the same. They had to have been all right there.
And you look at it.
And they all have pretty close to the same size. Yes, Gladney is a shorter little fella, but you know what? He lays a punch. I'm glad they made that pick. And between all the other corners, like I said, I'm sticking to my guns on this. I just think he's more ready day one, and that's why I love him.
Well, there was 3 groups to me this year that was really up to the teams. Where you look at it, the offensive tackles, I could have seen those going any way. Thomas ended up going first, which I could have seen Wirfs going first. I could have seen Wills going first. You look at the receivers, Ruggs ended up going first. Then it was Judy. Then it was Lamb. You could have flip-flopped any of those. And with the corners, it's the same thing. I didn't see Damon Arnett going 3rd or 4th, whatever it was. I think it was 4th. Terrell went 3rd. To me, that was a little bit of a reach. But,
a little bit of a reach. That was disgusting. It was the best thing I saw all day.
No, the best thing to me was when that linebacker, the frickin' Seahawks took. That was disgusting. I knew it was coming, but I didn't think it would be that bad. But,
no, the Raiders stepped on their dick. It was the best.
Wow.
That was so gross.
So, obviously, Mike Zimmer knows what he wants in a corner, so he saw something in Gladney that made up for the lack of size. Looking at it physically, I thought Fulton was exactly what Zimmer would be looking for, but he's still on the board, so maybe teams are more turned off by that failed piss test. Maybe when they met with him, he didn't exactly cover that well. Who knows? Maybe there's a bigger character flag there than, just we will never know without meeting with this guy personally. So maybe that's why he's still on the board. But you look at a physical standpoint, to me, he would have made more sense from what Zimmer usually likes in his corners.
Well, Gladney is very physical. I think Fulton will probably be one of the guys that probably come off as one of the first picks in round 2. It's just kind of what they wanted. It was their flavor, and Gladney was their flavor, and he's delicious. And so when you look at our overall first round, let's just look at it as far as reaches. I don't think the Vikings made a reach at either pick whatsoever. Value was exactly pretty much where it should be. When you look at the other guys, like you look at the Raiders pick, you look at the Seahawks pick. So we can't be upset about that.
No, and you argue, the value, I think, of both picks was good. The fact that you moved down to 31 and you still got Gladney and picked up an extra 4th, and was that a 5th or a 6th? I'm not sure. I think it just said the number. I don't know where it really fell. I didn't see. Did you see?
It's an early 4th, and I'm going to look that up. You keep going.
Yeah, well, So yeah, they didn't reach. I mean, Gladney was not a reach at 31. And there was many mocks that had him going much earlier than, if we would have took him at 25 even. So it makes a lot of sense. And, there was good value for both picks. Justin Jefferson was a guy I thought would have for sure gone to the Eagles earlier. Instead, they went for the shorter, faster guy. I guess you're looking for the next Deshaun Jackson. I don't know. I'm glad we didn't take Jalen Reagor. To me, if you're that small, you got to be much faster. I don't care what your 40-yard dash was in your backyard when Grandma's holding the stopwatch.
Graham.
Justin Jefferson, I mean, he's got – how big is this guy? He's like, what, 6'2", at least?
No, he's about 6 foot, I think.
6 foot, but he was – I mean, he ran a –
203 maybe?
40, yeah. So bigger, faster. I'm very happy with Justin Jefferson.
Yes, we did very well in round one. In my eyes, we did the best we could have where we were at. That trade was for a early 4th and a 5th round pick. So we will talk more on that tomorrow, but something tells me with 2 4ths, 2 3rds, couple of 5ths, we're going to be some movers and shakers tomorrow. We'll look at that. We'll look at guys who are available. But overall, before we get too deep into it, which will be tomorrow, just my draft grade for round one, considering we got those guys, we traded back, I am giving this an easy B+.
Well, I thought for sure you were going to say A+.
Well, A+ would have been somebody crazy sliding, and I got to be realistic, and I'm going B+.
This is your dream draft. You have Jefferson.
This is my dream draft.
And Gladney on the other.
I'm just saying, I'm giving it a B+. If a crazy guy would have slid like a Henry Ruggs or somebody like that, that would have got to an A. I think 3 years from now, I'll be giving it a different grade. But on the surface, B+, a very confident B+, and I am soaking wet.
Well, I'm giving it a B. I'm fairly dry. You're gonna need some lube right now.
B is pretty damp.
Well, and the reason I'm gonna B is because there wasn't a major reach. There was no Jalen Johnson, no AJ Terrell, no Josh Jones. Something where there was just no value. I do feel like what the Vikings did, they got value from every pick that they made. So that's why I'm giving it a B. I'm not super excited with the Gladney pick, and I'm a little concerned that we do have 2 5'10" corners as our likely starters next year, if Mike Hughes is even healthy enough to play, which is something that you need to factor in, especially when you talk about tomorrow what the Vikings might do, because I do not feel like corner is off the board. I think they could definitely come back and even touch that again early in round 2.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Jeff Gladney actually gives Mike Hughes one hell of a run for his money for that spot. I could see Hughes bumping inside, and Holton Hill and Jeff Gladney are our boys. So that's why I love this pick so much. I think we have 2 immediate starters in round 1.
Yeah, and they might have done that. So we'll be back. You said tomorrow we'll talk more about round 2, talk about who's
early,
who we'll be looking at. Until then, I got a little fact for you right now. If you think about it right now, at this very given moment, there's around 50,000 people in the world right now reaching orgasm.
Oh, God. How many?
50,000.
Make that 50,001 after I just thought about those picks.
Oh, my God.